What's up, everybody? Welcome inside another edition of our virtual chats. We're joined by a senior associate for academic affairs for athletics, Kristie Beitz. Big news coming out, Kristie, from your office this week regarding the fall 2020 GPAs. What can you share with us? And congratulations on the results.
Well, we are super excited in academic affairs for athletics. With so many unknowns this past semester and really just trying to gauge things, we couldn't be more excited by the perseverance, the grit, and the determination of our student athletes when it comes to their performance in the classroom. We have the highest GPA on record with our NCAA student athletes with a 3.29 cumulative GPA and a 3.27 for the fall semester. So certainly excited by their achievements and certainly working under, different circumstances and, some students in class, some students, attending class virtually. I just think it's phenomenal to see all that they're doing and certainly the support that they've received from their professors and from the staff, tutors. And my staff has just been dynamic. Academic Affairs for Athletics, the team is just unbelievable.
Kristie, lots to unpack with these final academic numbers from the fall. And when it comes to using the word challenge, sometimes that can be taken a negative way or a positive way. If we have challenges, guess what? We also have opportunities to do great things. When last March was here and everything got shut down from athletics to everything we're doing and building up to this past fall, cliff notes or not, what were the undertakings athletically and academics to get you to those final numbers of what we saw here released this week?
Well, I think a lot of times with our coaches or with administrators, you hear like about a war room, where they'll put up like recruiting information or they'll try to like break down an opponent and try to figure out how they can prepare. If we rewind in time and go back to March, I was preparing thinking I was going to go on spring break and go to the beach and it was going to be awesome. And then, borders kind of got closed down and those trips folded, right? Like that wasn't going to happen. So we took over the third floor classroom here of the Liberty Athletic Center and literally as a staff kind of dumped our brains, and we had dry erase boards and all these colors. And, we really, in a matter of 24 hours, put together a plan. And really, as you said, I love it, the opportunity to try to figure out how are we going to support our student athletes, those that were here on campus or were going to remain in the area, and those that were at home, whether it was here in the United States or abroad. We needed to ensure that we were consistent, that we were supportive, and that we were providing the opportunity for them to succeed academically. And so we literally put together a game plan in 24 hours, refined it and executed it. And coming out of the spring semester thinking, wow, this whole COVID thing, hopefully we're going to come to an end and see an end, when really we were just at the beginning, right? Like we didn't even realize what was happening. Our student athletes at that point at the end of the spring semester had the highest GPA on record. So we were like, this is incredible. Well, then as we kind of inched our way into the summer, what would happen? What would happen with summer classes? What would happen with our summer bridge program and welcoming in student athletes? And, we're so blessed, here at Liberty with our provost and, certainly Scott Hicks and the way that he has led things from an academics perspective, he really afforded us an opportunity to communicate and be flexible with our professors and really have those opportunities rather than shutting down summer school opportunities that may have happened at other institutions. We were flourishing and providing. And I think that speaks volumes to really the direction that on the academic side, Provost Hicks leads things. So we were able to bring in student athletes and have them participate in the summer bridge program, have them jumpstart their college career. And then as we were kind of pivoting to the fall semester, I remember receiving a call, from Ian McCaw saying, Kristie, we're going to pivot again. And I know classes start in a week, but we're going to need to put together some other things. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like, let's do this. A little bit nervous. I'll be honest. It was a Saturday and I stopped what I was doing and I came and I started walking campus and I started looking at facilities and then spent again, kind of in that war room, the next 24 to 48 hours going, okay, this is how we're going to execute and this is how we're going to launch things. And so, we really did it in a couple of different formats. And I think that you have to be flexible in your approach because this is not a one size fits all. We wanted to make sure that we were protecting student athletes that were competing, and not just protecting our student athletes, but our faculty and our staff and our fellow student athletes and individuals that work all across campus. We wanted to ensure that we were setting up opportunities. So we had some virtual learning bubbles that we had put in place. And then, of course, we had students participating in person in class, virtually, online. But again, through it all, being consistent in affording our student athletes the opportunity to have tutorial services and other things, and where we were continually communicating with the faculty and staff on how we could not only support our student athletes, but we really needed to support them as well.
Joined by Kristie Beitz, Director of our Academic Affairs for Athletics. My mind is going in so many directions with this interview, Kristie. I'm really intrigued on a lot of different things, and studying in person, studying virtually. Some student athletes do it better one way than the other. Did you see some student athletes' GPAs rise because of different ways they learn, given technology and what we went through this past fall?
Well, I think, Alan, certainly not to date myself here, but when you think about it, our student athletes today are used to being on iPads and cell phones and social media, and so they're really driven by electronics and the ability to communicate in a variety of different ways. I think it's more of a learning curve for me than per se it is for them, or even some of our faculty members who aren't used to that. I think that what we were able to do is, certainly there are some students that are going to excel just like they would excel in the classroom if they were in front of a professor. But what we tried to do was identify, and continually every single Monday, we did an email out to all of our student athletes and to all of our coaches, kind of, executing or launching the week. And we had themes, and we wanted them, to be aware of what's happening and what services. And it was always with kind of these nuggets of information and love, that we're here to love, care, and serve each and every one of you. So no matter where you are or what's going on, let's just communicate. And so I think that it really, we saw our student athletes communicating with us and sharing more information and saying, hey, I need help, or I don't understand, or how can you get me plugged in a certain way? So I think that was really, really helpful. I think the other thing is that through this whole time, that, you think about a semester being 16 weeks, what we did week 1 versus week 8 and week 16, they weren't the same, because we were learning and we were refining the services that we were putting together. The pillars, the foundation of it was the same, but we knew that there were some things that we needed to update or change or kind of flex with, if you think about it that way, to make sure that we were supporting our student athletes.
I remember going through when I got my master's at Liberty. I started in the summer of 2014. First time I'd ever done anything virtually from an education standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
and it worked great. I got through it in 2 years. December 16, earned my master's degree. How prepared, and I think I know the answer to this, were our student athletes when everything went, for the most part, virtually? How prepared, because of the success Liberty University had educating anybody online, how much did that system help prepare any rough waters we might have entered into this past fall?
Well, Liberty University is a forerunner when it comes to online education. So one of the, there's so many things that set us apart from other institutions, but I love that Liberty has differentiated instruction. And so specifically what I mean by that is, yeah, we have your typical Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday classes that you see at any institution. We also have intensives, which are 1 week classes where you can knock out a class Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We have online classes, which are 16 weeks or 8 weeks. And then we also have what are called J-term or hybrid classes that can be offered throughout the semester in a variety of different formats. So for our student athletes, from the moment that they've come to our campus, whether they are coming in as a freshman or they're a transfer student or even a grad student, we are registering them and they're enrolling in a variety of different formats of classes. So they've got that experience. Like they've taken an online class, they've taken a residential class. So that transition to virtual classes, they really weren't missing a beat. One of the things with our virtual classes, so if the class was Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9:20 in the morning, you still would attend class Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9:20, just as if you were going to be in person with the class. There is some flexibility, though, for a variety of different reasons where lectures are recorded, you can go back. But I think that our student athletes did an amazing job because they've had the opportunity and the experience to take classes in the different formats. Plus, I mean, just as a university as a whole, the support system is just robust. I mean, there's so many opportunities, whether it was Canvas or Blackboard, with reminders and just information that's there to really support not just student athlete success, but student success in general. And that's really what it's about, is the students succeeding.
Joined by Kristie Beitz, Senior Associate AD for Academic Affairs for Athletics. As we recap these numbers, Kristie, from the fall, and I'm looking at the team numbers as well. Sometimes we don't like to single out anybody because we might forget somebody. But give me a team, give me a student athlete that, wow, is a great success story for this past fall, and one that we can all applaud and be like, hey, this person put in the time, this team put in the time, and look at the fruits of those labors.
When I look at things, one, I have to say men's soccer just
Okay.
knocked it out of the park. I mean, when you look and see that they have a 3.58 cumulative GPA, and they've always been strong, but they have the highest men's GPA right now. And I'm just so excited to see what Coach Finley and his guys have been doing. Because again, things switched it up. They think they're going to have a season and they're going to play, and then they're not, and they're continuing to train and practice and do things, and they're putting in a lot of different things for their guys, their dude weekends, and yet they're just hammering it away in the classroom. I'm super pumped to see that. Again, our swimming and diving team, those ladies are excellent in the pool. Okay, they're doing dynamic things, winning championships. But wow, just taking care of business in the classroom with, again, the highest GPA overall. I also think it's really exciting to see what football did during the fall. I mean, to have a 2.81 GPA, which is exceptionally high for them, to compete and to perform academically and athletically, I just think that that's awesome. And so again, we'll continue to look and see the number of student athletes that have a 3.0 or a 4.0. And for our student athletes, they are just that, student athletes. And it's awesome to see what they're doing. I think about Brooke Bryan, our lacrosse player and certainly president of SAC, with a 4.0 this semester. I mean, just taking care of business. And so I'm excited to see what our athletes are going to do this semester. I mean, we've got big things in store for them, and again, refining and thinking about the fact that we'll have 19 teams competing, and we want to ensure that this spring semester is an awesome one for them, both academically and athletically, but to even take it further than that, we want them to grow spiritually and certainly from a community perspective. I know we're talking about academics, but our student athletes, at the end of the semester, we did a whole gratitude initiative, and they wrote thank you letters and sent them out to professors, to athletic trainers and equipment staff, and strength and conditioning coaches. And there are a lot of people that have done a lot of things during this time to really support them. And so we want to make sure that we are paying it forward. And they're doing that as well. And that's a success for us, to continue to sow into the lives of others and thank those that are making all of this possible for them to be successful. So yeah, awesome things happening, Alan.
Couple more thoughts here, Kristie. When you look at spring 2021, keeping all of these student athletes safe medically, with COVID still running rampant, and having success on the field and in the classroom, what is in store for these student athletes in 2021 academically? What can you share about their setup, what they're going to go through as they now compete on the field as well as the classroom?
Sure. So, we want to keep everybody safe and healthy from a student athlete perspective, coaching perspective, our professors, our faculty, staff. and our students, right? So our goal is to provide every opportunity for our student athletes to be able to progress as student athletes, so academically and athletically. We'll be working with some virtual and hybrid bubbles to support their academic success, working with different departments and professors to ensure that success. I think it's going to be dynamic. We're rolling everything out next week. We'll be having individual meetings with our programs to unveil what they'll be experiencing. But I think that it's going to be another amazing semester. I think it's going to be dynamic, and certainly they're going to have the consistency and the support of academic affairs for athletics, as well as the faculty and staff and the tutorial support here. So I think we're going to continue to see us marching in a positive direction. And certainly everybody that was supposed to graduate in December were graduated. And we want to see our student athletes go on, whether they still have eligibility and are going to be competing and staying here, that they are going on to graduate school, or if they want to pick up a minor or double major, that we're going to continue to progress in that direction. But I got to tell you, Alan, our student athletes are absolutely unbelievable. And I'm so excited to have the opportunity to work with them.
Well, your staff is unbelievable as well, Kristie. Starts with your staff. Appreciate what you do for our athletes. I do have to ask this as we wrap this up. Funny enough, last week I was having a conversation. I forgot who it was with, so pardon me on that. But the spectacular came up in conversation, and I can only imagine how disappointed your staff was when that event did not take place, because I remember not just one year, multiple years now that it's been at the softball stadium parking lot. We need to find a bigger space for that, Kristie.
Absolutely. We love the spooktacular, and we are a part of so many different like chat groups, and certainly to get out into the Lynchburg community to share. And the number of contacts that we got saying, okay, we know COVID's happening, is there any chance that you can have the spooktacular? And certainly we wanted to. Like, we love it. We love dressing up. We love our athletes putting on these games and putting things together for the community. And we were certainly disappointed that we could not provide the spooktacular, but the spooktacular will be back. So we've got lots of things that we're going to do, lots of plans. And so right now, I will tell you that we are in our Share the Warmth program. And so our student athletes have been coming back. We've got about 150 that have arrived in the last 48 hours. And we're doing a coat, hat, scarf, and glove drive where they'll be distributing things out in the community. But we love Lynchburg. We love the surrounding communities. We love, utilizing the platform that our student athletes have to make a difference in the lives of others. So Spooktacular will be back, but we've got so many more amazing things that we'll be rolling out this semester coming up. Like I said, Share the Warmth. We've got our Hop on Pop, where we'll be celebrating Dr. Seuss's birthday, and we'll be distributing books. And we've got a pen pal. We're going to be doing pen pals with a local elementary school group of kids at one whole school. We're going to take over the school, and our student athletes are going to be pen pals. So lots of different fun things that we've got in store, but don't you worry, Spooktacular will be back.
I'm putting a feeler out for the tarmac at Lynchburg Regional. I don't only think that space is going to be big enough for as popular as Spooktacular is, but we shall see. Always paying it forward. Kristie Beitz and her academic staff, appreciate the time, and go get them in 2021.
Awesome. Thank you, Alan.